cancer be like? Hair loss. Balding and hair loss that often occurs when chemotherapy targets all cells, including healthy hair cells, everywhere. Chemo is known to snatch edges, heads, eyebrows, lashes, legs, all of it.
Today is the day. And you... All right, get it. Today was not the day.
Breast cancer be like, people mean well, but the unhelpful, somewhat invasive, and often harmful responses from well-intentioned individuals when told a loved one has breast cancer. These include, but are not limited to,
so how are you feeling?
You should exercise to give you more energy.
My cousin had breast cancer. It was so sad. She died. But I'm sure you won't.
It's just hair. It'll grow back. You look great bald.
But how are you feeling?
Have you tried the keto diet?
I just think about all you're going through. I can't take it. I can't take it.
Ketosis.
I could never do chemo. Too invasive.
How are you feeling?
Maybe you need more vitamin C.
You are so strong. You inspire me.
Well, at least you got a free boob job.
Ketosis.
You good?
Did you get a second opinion? You should really get a second opinion. Ketones. Fat.
Call me if you need anything.
But you don't look like you have cancer.
Hello, 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 Facebook family. And we are back with another edition of I'm Not Your Superwoman. Now, don't make me start singing again, but you know, that's kind of where we are. How y'all doing out there? How was your holiday? Did you do Friendsgiving? Did you social distance? What'd you do? As you're coming in, let us know who you are, where you're from, and whether or not you're a breast cancer survivor. For those of you that don't know, I am Reverend Tammie Denyse. I am a 16-year breast cancer survivor. I'm the co-founder of Carrie's Touch, the #1 African-American breast cancer organization. And I am the co-PI for Project SOAR, Speaking Our African-American Realities. What you just saw was our latest version of Breast Cancer Be Like. The first one that you saw was with our phenomenal actress, Kimberly. And, you know, some of us love the wigs. Some of us hate the wigs when we're going through chemotherapy. And we all come to that point that we're like, okay, I'm going to brave it out. Well, I shouldn't say we all. Many of us will get to that point where I'm going to brave it out. I'm going to go out here with my bald head. And that hawk rolled up on her. She went and got that wig, the hat. A scarf, a coat, you name it, she was covering up her head. So go on YouTube and click like, click share, and spread it out widely. And then the second video was for those of us that have had breast cancer or any kind of dis-ease. People always say stuff and you look at them like, why would you say that to me? So that is our way of doing a spin on comedy to talk about a very serious situation. And we are here to talk again about breast cancer. We're looking at breast cancer survivors. I'm Not Your Superwoman. And tonight we have a special guest joining us from Memphis, Tennessee. Her name is Carla Baker. Carla Baker is the Chief Operating Officer for Common Table Health Alliance. She's also serves for the project lead for the Memphis Breast Cancer Consortium. Carla serves on multiple state, regional, and local communities, working to make Memphis a better place to live, work, play, and worship. She's worked as a registered nurse in the Memphis and Shelby County community for over 30 years. She believes an individual should concentrate on being healthy on the inside and the outside, body and spirit. She has dedicated her life to spreading the word on the importance of health and wellness. She oversees the health and wellness ministry at Temple of Faith Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor Edwin J. Brown. Without any further ado, welcome our guest for tonight, Carla Baker. Hi, Carla.
Hello, how are you?
Wonderful. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the I'm Not Your Superwoman platform.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to just hang out. You know, I see you're in your living room. Just get cozy. We're going to just do like you and I do, just sister chat and raise some awareness and put out some challenges for folks to get involved.
Absolutely.
First of all, we were just chatting a few minutes ago that I can't believe it's been almost a year since we first met.
I can't believe it either. It just doesn't seem like it, but it's been that long. But it was a great meeting. And it was like, like minds have a tendency to come together and just, to be able to talk and to share, and how we laughed about we were going to bring an East Coast, West Coast connection, so we could really look at, how people do things across the country and how we can help each other. Because a lot of people say, well, East Coast is always doing it this way and West Coast. But we found when we were together in San Antonio and talking that so many things were similar, and we had like minds, and we had things that we want to see accomplished for all women, no matter where they lived in the United States. And so I was just excited to meet you, really.
Oh, likewise, Carla. I thought you were some kind of like CIA or mafia or something, because you rolled up with your 901 report. And I don't think that I really knew the magnitude of what the 901 report was until like several days later, like 3, 4, 5 days later, when I finally had a moment to sit down and look at the depth of the 901 report. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the 901 report?
Well, how the 901 report came about, let me give you a little history about the Memphis Breast Cancer Consortium. In 2014, the Avon Breast Cancer Crusade did a survey of 50 cities, the 50 largest cities in the United States. And unfortunately, Memphis had the great distinction of being number one out of 50 cities where African-American women were dying at 2 times the rate of Caucasian women. And because of that, there was a call to action in Memphis. It's like, we've got to do something to get off of this bad list, because here we have mothers, sisters, aunts, wives dying. We've got to do something. And so based on that, we began to look at every organization within Memphis and Shelby County that did anything around breast health care. So we start pulling organizations together, and it's like, what do we do, or what can we do to help the women of our city? What services do we provide, and what services are missing? So that was kind of our start. And that started out with about 12 organizations, but now we have 38 organizations.
Wow.
Working together to improve breast health care here in the Memphis and Shelby County area. We have all the major hospitals in the city. We have all the major health care providers. We have a number of the cancer centers. We have various support groups. We are just ecstatic that we have the support of not only the state health department, but we also have the local health department, plus all of the major colleges, universities, and teaching hospital. So with all of those, along with, we also have our Susan G. Komen and American Cancer Society and the Patient Advocacy Center that works with us. So we just have a wealth of knowledge that we have pulled together, and we work together. And what we did, we actually layered ourselves into 3 different action teams. One team we kind of call the people team, and that's a lot of our grassroots organizations that work together, feet on the ground, out there doing a lot of awareness, health fairs, seminars, lectures. Then we have our what we call our provider groups, which is a lot of our physicians. They do a lot of teaching, do a lot of information around data. And then we have our policy group because, legislation dictates everything. So you've got to have that almost kind of government entity side.
Right.
All of us work together to dig into different things, bring it back to the general body, educate them, and one team plays off the other. And so, like I say, Avon help us identify the problem. The teams work on how we can fix the problem, within the city. So how the 901 report came about was we had talked to some individuals at the Chicago task force, and they had looked at a similar problem in their city. And so what we wanted to do first is, okay, how many women in Memphis actually are age eligible to have a mammogram if they needed to have a mammogram? And then, after identifying the number, it's like, well, if all of those women wanted to get a mammogram, which is, where you should start as far as identifying the cancer, is, if they all of them wanted to get a mammogram, could we actually perform those mammograms? Were those services available in the city? So that's how we started with the 901 report. So we looked at all of there are 23 mammogram facilities within the Memphis and Shelby County area. And we were able to get 17 of those 23 to participate in our survey. And we looked at, what type of accreditations did they have? And most of them had above and beyond the standard accreditation required by the FDA. The other thing we looked at was how much staff did they have? How much equipment did they have? If a person came or called in for an appointment, how long did it take to get both a screening mammogram or if they had to come back for, a diagnostic? We also looked at where were the centers located, because right away we knew that we had a problem because in some zip codes, the incidence of breast cancer were so high.
Wow.
The unfortunate situation was in Memphis, all 33 zip codes were above the national average. So that was pitiful, that.
Wait a minute, Carla. Hold on.
All 33 were above the national average. We were just in a mess.
Because you just said that your women in Memphis were diagnosed 2 times, or were dying 2 times the rate of white women, and that's higher than the national average because that's 50%, right? And so the national average is 41% of Black women dying at higher rates than white women. So y'all just had a whole lot of stuff.
We had a whole lot of stuff going on. We were just in a mess.
Wow.
And so we knew we had to do something. And so we had people at all level and of all races. Let me add that wanted to help, that were involved and wanted to make a difference. And that is the glue that has held the Memphis Breast Cancer Consortium together. From 2014 to 2016, it was a little loose on the organization, kind of getting everybody together.
Yeah.
But 2016, we hit it hard and heavy, really formalized, laid everything out, came up with a game plan, and everybody was really committed, really working. Every day, people, boots on the ground, they're doing things to improve breast health care for women in Memphis and Shelby County. But we were fortunate that when we did the 901 report and really looked into the services in Memphis, we were able to say that if all of the women that were age eligible wanted to get a mammogram, we had both the machinery and the staff, the mammogram technician, the radiologist, that could perform the various tests and everything, provide the services to people. The other thing we identified in looking at how many women had mammograms during the time that we were doing the survey, we identified that there were probably about 84,000 women that could get mammograms that were not getting mammograms. So part of the People's Team's goal prior to COVID, to identify, we kind of knew where those women were zip code wise, where they were, and to get to those women. And 2 of our hospitals have the mammogram mobile vans. So they targeted a lot of their activities in those zip codes where there was not a freestanding facility. We also worked with the Tennessee Department of Health, who gave us a grant, a transportation grant, where we were actually able to send a car to a patient's home.
Wow.
Pick them and possibly one other person up and actually take them for their appointment. And it was really a great service, because it wasn't that the driver just pulled up. The driver got out of the car, went to the door.
Wow.
Got that person, took them for their appointment, and made sure that they got back home. So we got around the transportation problem.
Yeah.
Does transportation still remain a problem? It does. Memphis does not have the luxury of rail transit and everything like some other cities.
Yeah.
We're a little behind on those things. But any way that we could try to get and still get a woman to their mammogram appointment, we're doing it. And the CDC has a program, and in Memphis, it's called the Tennessee Breast and Cervical Cancer Screening Program.
Yeah.
They do an awesome job for women who are uninsured or underinsured, to make sure that those women get not only their mammogram, but also their pap smear and women testing that they need. But
wow, Carla, I mean, just in one question, you just have dropped so much more stuff that, either I didn't catch on to, or I just didn't know about the phenomenal work that you're doing there in Memphis. So let me just get this straight. When you talked about the 84,000 women that qualified to get a mammogram, who were, age eligible to get a mammogram, were those just Black women, or were those all women in Memphis who were eligible to get a mammogram, but for whatever reason they, didn't have access or weren't getting the mammograms? Were those
that's a combination of both Black and white, all races.
Oh, okay. But that's a huge number.
That is a huge number, and
that's a huge number.
Yeah, so we're working with a lot of. We've reached out to a lot of sororities. We've reached out to community development organizations. Any type of organization that works with women or embedded in communities. Reach out. Of course, we work the faith-based community.
Of course,
COVID has thrown us a lot of challenges. We have become virtual queens and kings, because what we have identified in our work is there are more men than we had anticipated out there with breast cancer. It's just men don't always talk about it as much.
Right. Okay, so put a pin on the men. Don't talk about the men yet, because we're going to hold them and give them their own space, because that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's right.
A whole other conversation. Wow. This is so intriguing. And so that, when I got your 901 report a year ago in San Antonio, y'all, she's walking around with a book about this big. What's the point? The font size looks like it's an 8-point font size, but it's probably like a 10 or 11.
11.5.
I don't believe you. No.
It's 11.5.
But she's got this book that looks like, like a directory. How many pages is it, Carla?
36.
So 36, that would actually make it 72, because that's 36 front and back, right?
Yes.
She's walking around with this book that is telling this story she just told to us, and she's got it all written down. And as you know, we are working with Project SOAR and trying to get and understand stories just like the ones that Carla is talking about, but they were, confined to Memphis, and how dense the mortality rate. And now I'm hearing that the incidence rate was also equally dense, just directed in Memphis. And she's got this report that people didn't understand the magnitude of this report. And when I finally had an opportunity to sit down and look at it, I knew that the Memphis Consortium had to be part of Project SOAR. And then I would say it was probably mutual, and which is what kind of connected us, because what I love about you, Carla, and how you show up in the world is that you're always looking to exactly what we said, right here in your bio, when you honestly have spent the last, Lord, I think closed your bio, but you have spent 30 years creating a community where people can work, play, worship, and live full lives. And that has been your commitment. And that's what happened when we connected in San Antonio. And you saw Project SOAR as a possible vehicle to help expand the story of the men and women in Memphis who I'm hearing tonight, not just who have succumbed to this disease, but those who are still living every single day to make life better for them.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's what the 901 report is all about, y'all. It is an amazing tool that you are using, and you are building a machine in Memphis that can serve as a framework for other organizations that want to come in and help mobilize in their cities and learn how to do this for the community, but still understanding that you are focusing on saving lives of Black women.
Right. It's all about collaboration.
Absolutely.
And you cannot do it by yourself. Partnerships are so key because one thing plays off the other. You can't do it all by yourself. You may have to send a referral over here or a referral over there, or you may have to call and say, look, this person has no money, this person has no insurance, this person has nothing. I need somebody for transportation. I need somebody to do, to provide the test free. I need somebody that's willing to do the surgery because this person has, nothing, or I need you to get started with something until we can get them hooked up in a system. So you've got to work together. And by coming around the table every other month, and sometimes we were doing every other month, but sometimes things got to going on and we meet every month and talk in between. Mm-hmm. It's all about collaboration. You got to be willing to talk. And it's not about how big your organization is. Right. Because when we sit around the table or when we're talking, it doesn't matter if you're a huge center, a large support group, or one of our smaller groups. You have equal talking time, and you are just as important as any other organizations. One question that I get from all over the country is, how are you able to get 38 organizations to work together?
That was my next question. Tell us, what is your secret sauce? I know it's you. I know you are the secret sauce. I already know that. So
it's all about collaboration. And then sometimes you may have to roll an eye. You may have to sidebar with somebody. You may have to sometimes defer a conversation to later, and it's like, okay, we need to take this one behind the back door and have some discussion. So sometimes it's just like, I hate to say it, but it's just like working with children sometimes. Get everybody where they're willing to play in the sandbox fairly.
Right.
And so, like I said, occasionally it may be, it's like, okay, we need to discuss this later, but for now, we're going to agree to disagree on this, but we will revisit this again,
Well, see, let me just say this. I'm going to put this out there. What I'm not trying to do is get one of the Carla, because y'all, listen. If you don't know nothing about Black women, we have this whole communication that goes down with our eyes, with our heads, right? And with that deadpan. You get nothing. And if you try to push past this, it's going to be all bad. Carla got them down. Listen, when I tell you, Carla, I'm not trying to listen, I saw some people get that smoke. I'm not trying to do it. But seriously, because people sometimes don't understand the magnitude, and people want to come in with their own ideas around how to tell us how to do what we know how to do.
And a lot of people sometimes will come with hidden agendas.
Absolutely.
But it does not take long to peel that onion back and for you to see that. And, it's about helping them understand why we are here. And I will say that they're, again, about playing nice in the sandbox. Once some people realized what we were doing, they wanted to say, okay, well, this worked good, but now we need to do more for others, and try to change the whole landscape. And it's like, no, we were started for a purpose.
Right.
And purpose has not been totally fulfilled.
Wow.
That's what we do is going to impact others.
Right.
But our mission is to look at the impact of breast cancer on African American women. So it's about making that change, making that education available for African American women, to women that no one had brought information to before.
Right.
And it can't help but leap out and touch others, but never forget what your initial focus is.
Right.
That's the main thing. You've got to stay focused. You've got to keep your eye on the prize. And when I say the prize is because my sister Linda was a breast cancer survivor, and she was a fighter. I lost her a few years ago. The thing that she loved the Energizer Bunny. And you know what the bunny just says? I keep going and going. And that was her. She would go and go. And even when she would have what she called a bad day,
right,
about it was a bad day.
Yeah.
Because she refused to let it last more than a day.
That's good.
And then she said, when a day, it seems like it was a bad day, it's like, how can I have a good minute? Or how can I have a good hour? But I refuse to have more than one bad day at a time, and she was just tough like that. And she was such an inspiration,
And so Carla, let's dig into that a little bit, because Project SOAR is about looking at the strong Black woman. And, one of the captions for one of our participants, when she's talked about this defining what the strong Black woman was, she said, I just do, and I keep on doing until I can't do anymore. And we talk about, we're looking at that impact of, taking this completely away from your sister, but having the general conversation about the strong Black woman and its impact on our women who are diagnosed, going through treatment, And when they don't give them their bodies an opportunity to rest and to stop sometimes, because we're socialized to take care of everybody else before we take care of ourselves.
Exactly.
And we're alone in the midnight hour, only, like Sojourner Truth said, when only God could help me. I cried out in the midnight hour, and only God can hear me, and only God can help me. And, we're in 2020, and I am pushing back on that strong Black woman concept that's not healthy. There are some elements of being a strong Black woman that I gladly put on my crown, and I wear it with pride. But that part of that strong Black woman concept that is killing us, you talked about, your goal is to have people be healthy, inside and out, body and spirit, right?
Right.
To give our bodies the proper rest that we need, the proper nutrition that we need, the proper hydration that we need. And, as a society worldwide, we're all struggling right now because we're not getting that human interaction the way we're normally used to. We're not getting that human touch. We're called Carrie's touch. We want to physically touch people with our hands, because so many of our women, we've got this exterior, we've got this shell on, and you can't get in. And that's what keeps us in the midnight hour by ourselves. I'll keep saying it. We got to break down that Superwoman syndrome of trying to be all things to all people all the time perfectly while suffering alone in silence.
Right. Absolutely.
We got to take off that hat. So Carla, shifting just really quickly, you have another weapon in your arsenal that is also phenomenal, and it's one of a kind in the nation. You have an army of over 80 Black peer navigators, right?
We do. We have through our American Cancer Society and one of our other groups, we have these phenomenal women who a large number of them are breast cancer survivors or have been impacted by a sister or someone in their family. And these women, they are part of that, that people team committee that go out and, prior to COVID, they would go out to the homes, go out to the, do the health fairs. They're burning up the phones now, calling people, how you doing? And, really pushing, it's like, I talked to a lady the other day, and she had just gone to the grocery store and went and dropped some food off on a lady's porch because, she is in chemo, back in chemo now, so she can't get out. And so they help people with whatever they need help with, whether it's just needing someone to talk or needing someone to help them to acquire food and medication, just being that support system for them. And they've been trained on what to say and what to do. And, they can go from this almost strong professional to the silliest, craziest comedian that you ever, run into, because sometimes you just need a little foolishness in your life. It's like forget the serious thing. You need somebody that just said, girl, I don't care how your hair look.
Right.
I don't care if you don't have no makeup on.
Right.
If you hadn't put your teeth in your mouth, I'm just glad to see you today. It's like, I don't care, it's like, yeah, you nauseated, so I don't care if you don't put your teeth in, because then that way when you throw up, you don't have to take them out or fish them out,
She said, take them out or fish them out. Carla, you are nuts.
It's
That's true. That is true.
They are really strong women, and not only are they support for individuals that may be going through treatment,
right?
Our strong support for each other, because sometimes I used to teach a class, and it was to nurses, and the name of the class was "How can you care for others if you're not taking care of yourself?"
Right.
Which
Right.
is the same thing other caregivers do.
Yep.
You got to take care of yourself
That's
in
right.
order to help others. You got to take care of yourself mentally and physically. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, if you feel like you need to scream, baby, scream out to the top of your voice. Let it. Don't hold it in, and especially as Black women,
right?
We think we have to be strong for everybody. But I'm gonna share this. I lost my husband coming up on 5 years ago now.
Right.
And one day it was my husband designed barbecue grills.
Oh,
the best pit masters across the world.
Wow.
And I was just sitting on my porch one day, and I caught the whiff of barbecue. And I mean, at first I'm like, okay, no, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to cry. You know, it's just, hold it in, girl, you all right.
Right.
5 years. Baby, you talking about the tears got to rolling out. But they were tears of happiness.
Yeah.
Rolling, the snot was slanging. It was just, I just had me a full
good
meltdown with all my happiness. And you talking about feeling good?
Yes. Yes.
Like, it was like a weight had come off, and it was totally different. I needed a release, and didn't realize I needed a release. And God sent that trigger in the smell of somebody else's barbecue. And it just came all the way out. So if you have one of those moments, baby, let it go. If you want to get up and just run through the house, just let it go. If you need a good cry, even if it's one of them ugly cries, baby, in your own cry, just let go and let God.
Right.
He's gonna be right there to support you, gonna give you what you need.
That's right.
I'm talking about, it was like a weight came right up on just me, myself, my glass of Kool-Aid on the porch,
Right. Well, but Carla, that aligns so perfectly with dismantling the Superwoman syndrome, right? And so, if we were to give this talk a theme, I think we're talking about self-care, acknowledging the need for self-care. And I think what I hear you saying is that this group of women who are survivors and co-survivors, as we call them, survivors and they serve as a safe place to be able to have those guttural tears flying, snot slinging, and red Kool-Aid. I don't know if your Kool-Aid was red or not, but red.
It was strawberry. It sure was.
Yes, but having those moments, and that is so important. And that class that you're talking about, that is still important today for our women. One of the things that I talk about is the now normal. When you're going through treatment, I call treatment the now normal. I don't call treatment the new normal, because that's not where we're gonna be. We're many of us, like, for some women with a different diagnosis, they'll be in treatment, the rest of their lives. And that's a whole different conversation as well. But for many of us, treatment is temporary. And that's what we're doing now. Mm-hmm. And what we want to move into is having women understand that mental wellness and mental health is real, and it's necessary, and it's okay. Because, in our community, if you go to a therapist, you crazy. Oh, I know, and in our community, it's what goes on in this house stays in this house. Okay, all that dysfunction just stays in the house, and it gets repeated generation after generation after generation. And what we're talking about is breaking down those strongholds, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's also what you're talking about with what you're doing in Memphis. So one of the reasons I wanted you on the show tonight, on this platform tonight, is to really talk about, kind of what collaboration looks like when we talk about the information that you have with the 901 report, the number of women that you have your hands on, the number of institutions that you have your hands on, and then Project SOAR, that is an up and running active research project, as we know, in partnership with UCLA, and how we both, no hidden agendas. That's what I think we loved about each other from the beginning. We didn't have any hidden agendas. You was like, hey, this is what I want. I was like, hey, this is what I want, and it was love at first sight, pretty much. Me and you were doing some stuff like we were raising the eyebrows, but we were clear, we were upfront about where we wanted to go. And so we are looking forward to being part of, collaboration. One of the collaborations that Common Table and MBCC, that's the Memphis Breast Cancer Consortium, for those who are new here, how that all comes together. Do you see where incorporating women from Memphis into Project SOAR could be beneficial to the work that you're doing?
I do, because how I think it'll be beneficial is the fact that NIH and other organizations look at research across the country.
Yep.
Having the input of women from across the country, from different economic backgrounds, from different thoughts of mind, from different experiences through their cancer treatment, and just in life itself, gives them a better idea of how to set about not legislation related to insurance, related to Medicare and Medicaid type services. It's just like almost like a clinical trial,
right? Yeah.
It's just like with a new medicine.
Yep.
You need people from all diverse backgrounds and walks of life to figure out if it's going to work for everybody, or okay, well, we'll have pill formula A works better for, say, women of color,
right?
And B works better for Caucasian women or Asian women, or vice versa. So Project SOAR, the information from that, when you have like NIH and other organizations looking at those results, it helps them make decisions that it impact the entire country.
Yes.
Because when you got NIH looking at stuff, you got the CDC, FDA, and everybody else. And when the studies are out there, I know I'm always looking, for research and studies and stuff.
Right.
And so just having East Coast and West Coast information coming together makes all the difference in the world. So that's why I thought it would be very important for us to, play a part in Project SOAR.
Right. And would you say that it's also the fact that it's giving voice to Black women and their experiences?
Absolutely. Yes.
Because the African proverb that says, unless the lion tells its story, the story is always going to be heard from the hunter. Us, roaring, literally, and telling our story so that people can hear the impact of breast cancer on Black women. So let's jump to men really quickly before we have to wrap up. Men. So nationally, men are about less than 2% of all breast cancer diagnoses. How does that differ in Memphis?
Well, I think, and we're still in a learning process. And this is because of the work we've done with women Then we started getting men to call us to say, well, what do you have for men? It's like, well, I have breast cancer, but I can't find any information or any resources, or I have it, but I'm embarrassed to tell my family because I know how they think it's a woman's disease.
Absolutely.
So I'm actually doing some work with our state health department, to try to get some better and some more accurate numbers. They actually think that there have possibly been some, I don't want to say misdiagnosis in death, but where they didn't necessarily, the death certificate didn't necessarily say the death was because of breast cancer. It was because, everybody's heart failed. But the main issue that was causing the problem, that precipitated, caused that person's heart to stop. So they're doing some, I would say, some looking back on some things. Our numbers pretty much documented numbers pretty much run the way the nationals, but there's concern that the numbers aren't quite as right or accurate as they could be, because even with women with breast cancer, a lot of times they believe that the death certificate may not be right, that it still may be contributed to heart failure versus actually the breast cancer itself. And unfortunately, I have to say that one of the things that they're looking at too is because of, again, and this is our policy committee has identified that based on reimbursements from the hospital, sometimes in treating the patient toward the end, the reimbursement is higher if it's a heart-related complication versus just the breast cancer itself. So, there's work to be done on that side as well.
Listen, and then folks wonder why that there is trust issues, in the Black community and communities of color with medical professionals. And I don't even want to throw that out there because I get frustrated because on one hand, it is very real and it's a conversation we need to have. And then on the other hand, there are some amazing medical professionals out there that are fighting on the front line every single day to help save lives of women that look like you and look like me. Right.
Yes.
So I don't want to cloud it all by saying that shining a spotlight on the negative, but it's true. It's
there.
True. It's a reality, and we have to acknowledge it. So what are the numbers like for men? Because, like I said, the national numbers are men less than 2%. But what are your numbers like in Memphis for men with breast cancer?
They're right at 2%.
Oh, okay, not 2. Okay, yeah, but it is. You're right. That is our experience.
Is even with that 2%, the men have started to talk about it. We've gotten men that will actually sit down and talk about it. And I think we had one very strong champion that we put out there, and he started talking, and that brought a lot of other men. And recently, Beyonce Knowles' father diagnosed. So as more high-profile men are willing to actually tell that they have it, more men are willing to share, that they have it, or they have it. Because it's something that all of them say was very kind of embarrassing to them, because they believed breast cancer was a woman's
disease. Yeah, and that's part of the education that we do as well. We do our Celebration of Life tour, and that tour is taking back that term, Celebration of Life, because we hear that at memorials and funerals. And so, with our Celebration of Life tour, we provide that type of education that anywhere you have cells, cancer can grow. So, men have breast tissue, and they can get breast cancer. And so we talk about those things in our Celebration of Life tour. But Carla, when we were prepping for this, I told you, I said, we're going to sit down and we're going to chat, and the hour is going to go so fast. And we have been on already for 50 minutes. We've got 10 minutes left. And I want to know, what message would you send to the nation, not just to Memphis, but to the nation around breast cancer, around self-care, and around Black women with breast cancer? Anything. It can be absolutely, I don't care what it is, whatever message you want to leave the people with.
My number one thing, and this has to do with, and I know it's happening across the country, everyone needs to get their preventive care.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get out. You need to get your mammograms.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get your pap smears. They've done a lot of work to make sure that the hospitals and the doctors' offices are safe.
Mm-hmm.
Wear your mask. Do your social distancing. Do not ignore your health. I'm not saying don't be fearful.
Mm-hmm.
Be prayerful. Acknowledge that COVID is here, but I still have to take care of my body. I still have to remain healthy. Number one, for myself, and then for others. Because you think about, if you go down, the impact it's going to have on the rest of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself, eat right, drink your water, take care of your mental health, whether that's talking to someone, whether it be a friend, whether it be a counselor. Don't be afraid to talk to anyone about if you need help. It's out there, it's available. If you need professional help, there's a lot of free help right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be embarrassed because I know many people have lost their jobs because of the pandemic. Don't be so stuck up and highfalutin that you are not willing to accept help. The help is out there. Don't let your family go hungry because you're too proud to get in a food line. Don't let your family be hurt because you're afraid to seek mental health. Do not go without medications because you are afraid to go to what they call the free clinic. You have paid taxes all of your life. These services are available to you. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Wives, love your husband. Husband loves your wife. Love your wives, your girlfriend. Children, obey your parents. I'm gonna throw this in there.
Throw it. Come on. We ain't scared.
Number one, you got that Bible. Shake that dust off that Bible. It's gonna tell you what to eat, when to sleep, what to drink, what to do, and what not to do. Every instruction you need is in one book. So if you got it in the corner and it's got a little dust on it, brush that dust off. And one thing that I do every day, well, two things I do. One thing I do with my Bible every morning, I just sit my Bible up, let it fall open, and whatever scripture my eye fall down on, that's my scripture for the day. I also have a dictionary, and I do the same thing. I pull that dictionary, I let it fall open, whatever page it fall on, and I look down at a word. And I try to use that word at least 3 times during a given day. So that way I always learn a new word. Some of them is like, oh, I got to be careful how I use that particular word. It's a way of increasing your vocabulary, And sometimes it's funny how you think, well, I really thought that word meant something else, but it could be used in a whole lot of other different ways. So that's kind of my spiel from Carla as far as, kind of what to do. And like I said, just take care of your health. And my challenge to everybody is on tomorrow or the next day, pay it forward. Do something for someone else. No matter what it is, do something for someone else. Even if you don't think you have much, you may have more than somebody else right in your very neighborhood or either in your own household. But do something for someone else. It may seem small to you, but it might be very big to somebody else.
Wow, Carla, you just answered all the questions I was about to ask you. You have been phenomenal. I do have one question because I knew you were going to church. I just knew you were going to church. I knew you were going to church. No, I lied. I said I had one question. I have two questions. What's your favorite hymn, gospel song, spiritual song? What's your favorite song?
We've come this far by faith.
Woo, yes, that's a good one. The second one, what's your favorite scripture?
Psalms 23. Psalms 23 is my favorite. It's just no matter what I have gone through in life.
Yeah.
Or no matter what you're going through, if you read Psalms 23, that answer is there. When it says the Lord is my shepherd, it covers everything that may come your way.
Come on now.
It's right there. It will lift you up. I don't care how low you may think you are, because you just think you low. But you are not low, because I guarantee you there's something or somebody that's in a lower spot. Yeah. But if you go to Psalms 23, it will raise you.
Wow. That's
give you what you need.
Wow, Carla, I am giving you a hug, man. I
receive it. I receive it.
Oh, sis. I mean, yes, I couldn't have asked for this. I couldn't have planned it any better. Thank you so very much for showing up with us. Y'all just wait until you see, what we do in our collaboration with the women in Memphis and getting them on record, getting their voices heard, so we can go get some legislation and put some pathways in place that are going to really benefit the people. It has been an amazing hour with you. We'll be back here next week. We have another special guest that's going to just love up on us, give us some good information about protecting ourselves as we are coming into the winter months, and COVID-19 is just out of control across the nation. So it won't necessarily just be breast cancer focused, but join us next week. I'm Reverend Tammie Denyse, 16-year survivor, daughter of the Most High God. I will see you next week. Bye.